you pick your blood family before you incarnate into your physical body. And I'll always say sometimes you pick your blood family to expand you, not always to love you, right? Culturally, we expect our parents to love us, right? But what if they're here to teach us something? Just because somebody leaves your life, that doesn't mean the lessons from the soul contract stop. So, for example, if you've been in a relationship which was long, you learned a lot, there was some love, there was some pain. You may be in another relationship and you carry some of the lessons, some of the karma from the past relationship. You're still learning from that soul contract. Even though that person's no longer in your life, you're still expanding from that soul contract in some kind of way. I know I've tapped into a past life where I nearly drowned. And, that whole experience of nearly drowning involved I was in love with somebody. I was in love with this girl, and she, long story short, she was leaving me, and basically she was on a boat and she was leaving away with some other guy, and I found her on the boat. We argued and she hit me with the oar and I fell into the water. So I fell into the water, had a sinking feeling of having my heart broken. And because I'd been hit, I couldn't do anything about it. I was still. So basically I left that life drowning with heartbreak. So then I came into this life expecting any relationship I had to end in heartbreak.
I've got Nimesh in the studio, and I'll let him introduce himself because his accolades are a lot. So, hi Nimesh, welcome to the studio.
Hi Eric. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yes,
so.
Definitely looking forward to it as well. What do you do? How do you if someone says it, what do you do? What do you say to the person?
So after having spent 30 years in the corporate world, I left that to focus on guiding people on their journey. So I'm a spiritual coach, mentor, an Akashic record reader, a trainer, and a podcast host and a creator as well. So what I do is I guide people on their journey. We've got so much programming in our life, and I hold people space to truly understand who they are, reducing the layers, getting back to the core at a more of a spiritual level than a human level.
Wonderful. What's the name of your podcast?
Spiritual Journey, Path to Awakening.
Spiritual Journey, Path to Awakening.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll drop a link in the description if you want to go and listen to this amazing stuff out there. Today we are going to be talking about the concept of soul contract. If anyone says, or if for someone like me or anyone who doesn't necessarily have a lot of information or knowledge about soul contracts, how would you describe or explain soul contracts to them?
So, again, just my view in terms of soul contracts. So, before we're born and before we're incarnated into this physical body, we already know what we're here to experience, right? We want to maybe experience unconditional love, or maybe we want to experience some sort of pain. The soul kind of knows what karma it needs to release and what it needs to learn. And from there, we before we incarnate, we look for familiar souls to have that experience. So we, basically that's why a soul contract is born. So let's say we need to experience some sort of painful experience. We have an agreement with that contract, and then when we incarnate into the physical body, the major people, I believe, the major people you're meant to interact with at a soul level kind of predetermined. The timing of it can shift based on some of your decisions, but your major soul contracts, like with your blood family, you pick your blood family before you incarnate into your physical body. And I'll always say sometimes you pick your blood family to expand you, not always to love you. Right? Culturally, we expect our parents to love us, right?
Yeah.
But what if they're here to teach us something? Because we have lots of stories of people who disconnect from their blood family, who don't feel the love from their blood family. And so it's our program which says that we should get unconditional love from our blood family. But what if we pick them to experience something? And what if that experience defines who we are today? And that's why, and what happens is, so you pick your major soul contracts before you incarnate into your physical body. Your soul already knows kind of what it's here to experience. But if you remembered that, let's say, if I met you and you're going to cause me some pain, then I'm not going to do that, right? Why would I do that? That's where the veil of amnesia comes in. So then you don't know, but it's like, let's take an example. If you meet somebody and you have a connection with them, you feel like you know them, then that's a good indication you have a soul contract with that person. Because you could have had a past life with them too, right? It's that knowing, it's like some you You meet some people and you just don't feel you're connected to them.
Yeah, you just don't like
nothing
them.
good or bad. It just is, right? But there's others that you meet, and it could be a random meeting, and all of a sudden this person becomes a major part of your life. I don't believe there's anything random about that. I feel like our guides, the universe, we guide it together. Now that doesn't mean you don't do anything, right? Because if you're like, okay, anyone I'm meant to meet, let's say romantically, I'm just gonna I have a soul contract with somebody. I'm gonna stay at home and they're gonna come to me.
Yeah.
Got to meet the universe halfway.
Okay.
So you've got to show up in whatever way feels right, and then the universe will meet you halfway, and then you'll meet the right people.
Okay, so that I think so that means that we decide to come to Earth. We say we have a say in coming to Earth.
Yeah. So the soul. I mean, I believe there's a lot of souls actually waiting to come onto the planet. A lot of beings. So sure, it's like when it's our turn. There's the soul already knows what it's here to release, and it could be karma, right? Karma could be things that you carry from a past life that you need to release in this life, and it could be with the same person. So maybe with your partner, as an example, you may have been with them in a past life. And you have karma to release. You come in this life to release that karma. You could also have ancestral karma to release. So this is karma you carry from your ancestors, and I feel like if you feel the energy of the moment. Right now, there's a lot happening on the planet. And I feel like a lot of the souls that are here right now have a role to play to release a lot of karma. So the next cycle of souls have less to release and they can focus on rebuilding the planet. I feel like there's such a massive shift on the planet that we're going through that, we're shifting from divine masculine to divine feminine, and masculine is all about ego. That's why you hear all these really high level people kind of getting found out a little bit, like Epstein files and all that sort of stuff. I feel like we're shifting from divine masculine to divine feminine. Masculine was all about the ego, all about these people shouting loud. Feminine is more about the heart, more about collaboration, more about community. So I feel like we're shifting into a phase where it is about the individual soul contracts you have with people, collaborating in smaller groups. That's where the power is going to come from. That's where the light. Whereas all these individual masculine egos, I feel like we're going to find out a lot about a lot of people over the coming period. So, so I mean, hold on tight.
Yeah, it's really looking like it. It's really looking like it. From as you mentioned, the Epstein files and all that. You mentioned choosing our parents. I know. I have a few friends. I know some people where they did not have the best experience with their parents. Some of them were treated so bad. So if we get to choose our parents, if we get to decide, okay, I want this person to be my parent, and we kind of know how that's going to go, why would we still go ahead with it?
Well, so that's what I'm saying. If the soul needs to experience something painful, so I believe that the soul picks the mom and the mom picks the dad. So you've picked. So if you need to experience like a lot, lack of love growing up, as an example, maybe some sort of abuse. That's what I'm saying. You don't pick your family to love you. You pick them based on what you need to experience, because I believe everything you go through is really for three reasons. One is either karmic release. So let's say you have a past life with your parent, and you have to release some karma that goes with it. That's the painful experience. Secondly, your soul needs to expand. And thirdly, what if everything you've been through as a child is training you for what's coming next? The child is father to the man. So everything who you are today is based on everything you've been through. And, what if, like I said, what if your parents were never meant to love you? But here's the thing, what I feel is happening now is we're being pushed to create our soul family, i.e. pick the people around you that hold your space, that kind of allow you to truly be yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why, so maybe you get the love of a father, love of a mother from somebody else. But we expect our parents to love us. It's what centuries and centuries of programming have said, that, we should get the love from our parents. But what if that's not really the case?
Okay. So basically, what if the job of a parent is just bring us to this world and then teach us lessons, really?
Yeah, it's a co-creation. So everybody you meet, it's a co-creation, right? So we're creating this podcast. it's not about me or you. It's about whatever we code. So it's like the parent needs to experience something, and maybe they're meant to. Again, it's kind of an interesting concept, but maybe they're meant to inflict some sort of pain on you. That's their role, and they're going to grow, and they're going to get some karma from it. They may need to release the next lifetime, and you need to experience it. And what if what you experience, yes, you hold on to the trauma, but what if it helps you in whatever you do in the future?
Yeah.
And it's just it is, because I get the question quite often. It's like, well, hold on, why would I pick a painful experience?
Yes.
And it's just, it's hard, right? If you're going through some sort of trauma and you have someone like me that says everything that happens to you happens for you rather than to you, you're like, well, why is this happening for me, right? It's like when you start thinking of the concept of the soul, and the soul needs to go through a journey of growth and experience and here to release. It's more of a soul journey, and this human existence is just part of that soul journey. So the soul is on a journey to expand, to learn, to experience different levels of love, different levels of pain, different levels of expansion. And it's more about the journey than the destination, right? It's more about, what do you experience? What do you grow? And when you start changing your question, because a lot of the time when we're going through something traumatic, our question is, why me? Why does this always happen to me? I knew is it, you can't see the wood for the trees. You can't see. But when you start changing the question, well, hold on, how is this serving me? Why did I pick this relationship? What am I here to release? And I feel like this period we're in right now, we're releasing a lot of karma. I feel like the veil is becoming even thinner. It's like, spiritually, if you listen to all the words right now, we've just entered into the year of the fire horse, we left the year of the snake. That's kind of clues, right? I mean, last 12 months felt really heavy. So the snake, this wood snake, is all about shedding your skin, right? It's a lot of internal work. I feel like a lot of people's circles have got a lot smaller. Now we're entering into the year of the fire horse, and horse is more about movement.
Yeah, movement.
And then you add fire to it. So I feel like a lot is being revealed. And so if you have people in your life that drain your energy, drain your vibration, then when I would ask yourself, is my soul contract with this person complete? And you have an intuitive, your answer's not going to come from your brain, because your brain's your history. If you trust your heart, it's like if you just close your eyes and just feel that person and say, all right, have I learned everything I meant to from this person? And, a blood family as an example, just because they're your blood family, they don't need to stay in your life. And even if you choose to have them in your life, you don't need to give your power away, because we give our power away, right? The people we grew up with know, our parents know how to press our buttons more than anybody else, right?
They do,
so, and they trigger us in ways. We could be so calm in 99% of the situations, but 1%, somebody says something and we get back to our little childhood, and all of a sudden we're triggered. And when you start changing your question and asking, how is this serving me? What is it here to teach me? You start to understand what you've learned through your childhood and what you're here to release. I believe everything we've been through is leading us to something different.
That's quite powerful. It's say, if someone knows about their soul contract, well, first and foremost, is it possible to know about your soul contract?
Yeah, you've got to ask. It's like you've got to listen to your heart and your soul. And that's what I said, change your question and say, okay, what is this soul contract here to teach me? Anyone major in your life, you've got a soul contract with, for sure. And sometimes soul contract's complete, but we still stay in a situation, which is why I love the phrase, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So let's say we're in a relationship, and it's like when we started the relationship, we were aligned. That we were loved together. It was all a beautiful connection. And maybe with that soul contract, you were meant to experience love. But through a period of time, you start to disconnect. Maybe in that same soul contract, it was meant to evolve to something painful. But we sometimes stay in that situation because it's familiar. We're worried about, hold on, if we release this person, what it's going to be replaced with. This is why I love the phrase, pain is inevitable. So if you're meant to meet somebody who's meant to cause you pain, okay, that's what you're here to do. But when we stay in a situation where a soul contract is complete, that's when we suffer. We stay in a situation, we've learned everything we're supposed to, but we stay there because it's familiar and we're scared of what else is going to come. And that's where the suffering comes in. So if you start to trust yourself and just just ask, I know I'm closing my eyes for the video right now, but just close your eyes and just ask this person, what are they here to teach me? Have I learned everything I need to from them? And if you start trusting your intuition, and your intuition, what happens is your intuition is quiet. It's more gentle.
Mm.
Your ego, your mind is stronger. That's one of the things talks loud. It's like, you listen to this, you're like, what's this guy talking about, right? But if you start to just trust the little quiet voice of your intuition, there's a knowingness in you. If you look at the people, the way I look at it is, it's like the people in your world are the ones that you pick. So if you think of yourself as like a superhero, a Disney character, and you look at the people in your world, they're playing the roles that you ask them to at soul level. And if you have people in your world that drain your energy, then if everything in your external is a result of something internal, then you have an opportunity to change the people.
Mm.
When you raise your vibration, you start to attract a different level of person. And I feel like what's happening right now is we're being pushed to release those soul contracts that are done. Because as we enter into this next phase, we've got to create space for new souls to come into our world. They're going to hold our space differently. They're going to push us differently. And we hold on to the people that we've done with, because like I said, they're familiar.
Mm. Mm. You mentioned something about a contract expiring.
Sure.
So that means, say, if two people get married, a man and woman, they get married, they settle down. You said any person who is significant in your life, you've got a contract with. So if soul contracts can expire, then that means marriage, when two people get together as a husband and wife, as a couple, that can also expire.
Yeah, sure, 100%. I mean, soul contracts is multifaceted and it evolves and it changes. So let's take marriage as an example. When you meet, when you get married, there's a contract there to love each other, to be aligned, in theory, similar values and all the rest of it. But we grow, right? We experience things in life and we change, and what we want in this world changes. And that's why, what if in that marriage, you start to grow apart? But let's say you've got kids. That soul contract can evolve to being separated, and the new soul contract is being a co-parent. So the soul contract can evolve into different, and maybe the soul contract started as somebody who loves me, and then maybe it evolves to somebody who causes me pain. And it's all about, like I said, everything is here for you rather than to you. So if you are being caused some sort of pain, then it is expanding you, it is teaching you, it's helping you to release the karma. But it's up to you to understand how that pain is expanding you. It's up to you to realize, okay, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with this situation. I'm done with feeling this pain. And the interesting thing about soul contracts, especially relationships one, just because somebody leaves your life, that doesn't mean the lessons from the soul contract stop. So, for example, if you've been in a relationship which was long, you learned a lot, there was some love, there's some pain. You may be in another relationship and you carry some of the lessons, some of the karma from the past relationship. You're still learning from that soul contract. Even though that person's no longer in your life, you're still expanding from that soul contract in some kind of way, because we carry it, right? We carry, everything, the child is father to the man, everything we've been through, we carry into this version of ourselves. So it's not like it's so when we talk about soul contract, it's not like it's as black and white. Okay, this soul contract's done. It evolves, it changes, and the lessons and expansion can continue.
Okay, I know of the concept of soul ties. Does that have any relation with soul contracts, or that's an entirely different thing on its own?
Yeah, I mean, the soul ties, it's just a different. It's like, as humans, we love to give labels to things, right? Soul contract. It helps us to understand it, right? It helps us to put it in a box. Soul ties, it's a connection. It's a tie that we have that's connected to a soul contract, right? So, and soul contracts don't have to be big. We have a soul contract, right? We have, at some point, we have a soul contract about this conversation to share some knowledge with whoever's meant to hear it. And just, who knows, right? I hope we record again, but this may be a one-time thing and I never see you again. And that's, That is what it is, right? So
yeah, okay.
It's letting go of those expectations. It's like when we enter into marriage, we have all these expectations of what life should be. It's like we see things with like rose tinted glasses, right? It's like we're almost focused on what we want, what we expect from that relationship rather than what it is in this moment. And what if those expectations aren't aligned? What if they're not realistic? And so it's our expectations that keep us stuck, not our reality. And this is where we see things with rose tinted glasses. Like we stay in a relationship because of what it was like when it began. We're trying to get back to something, or we still want that fairy tale relationship. You know, we like when we got to this, we're together with this person. There's hope. It was going to be like everything I expected. You know, it's this fairy tale, and you're still waiting for this fairy tale. There's this expectations. If you focus on the moment and say, okay, what is this relationship teaching me?
Yeah.
And it's in the moment that you get the information rather than the past or in the future.
We started talking about what's it called? Akashic records.
Akashic records, yeah.
Is it something you can, based on, looking at the records of your past lives, can you then determine your soul contracts by looking at the Akashic records?
Yeah, so Akashic records, just so everyone knows, is a record of everything your soul's been through. Current life, past life, future life, prior life. Everything about you is stored in the records. And when you tap into the records, you get insight, into your soul contracts, what you're here to learn, what you're here to expand. Your guides, who you're. So when I'm looking away, I'm channeling, right? So when I'm looking up, I'm channeling. So I'm kind of tapping into information from, and so when you connect with your guides, we all have a set of spiritual guides who have full access to your records. And when you tap into the records, you get insights into what you're here to learn, your soul contracts from this lifetime. You get a deeper understanding of your soul. But here's the thing: let's say you're here to experience something painful, and you haven't experienced it yet. If you need to experience that pain, the records aren't going to stop you experiencing that pain. What they do is they give you insights into how that pain is expanding you, what is here to teach you. They give you insights into some past lives. Maybe you have a past life where you experienced something traumatic and you bring it to this life. Like, for me, I know I've tapped into a past life where I nearly drowned. And, that whole experience of nearly drowning involved I was in love with somebody. I was in love with this girl, and she, long story short, she was leaving me, and basically she was on a boat and she was leaving away with some other guy, and I found her on the boat. We argued and she hit me with the oar and I fell into the water. So I fell into the water, had a sinking feeling of having my heart broken. And because I'd been hit, I couldn't do anything about it. I was still. So basically I left that life drowning with heartbreak. So then I came into this life expecting any relationship I had to end in heartbreak. And so with doing the work, I changed the ending of that life almost. I changed it so that, I didn't die in the water. I survived. And yeah, I didn't stay in that relationship, but I had an existence, and that allowed me to release some of the things I'm holding on to in this life.
Okay.
So in this life, I had an expectation in every relationship that it was going to end painfully. I was almost anticipating it. And then it's like when I understood that past life, it helped me to understand why I was manifesting what I manifested. So I had karma in this life where I needed to experience some painful experiences, and almost manifesting it by myself because of my expectations of what I carried into this existence. We can go really deep in so many of these topics.
I'm all up for it.
Yeah.
You need to go deep. I love when you said you're channeling. How is that like when you say you're channeling information? How is it like? Is it a voice? Is it intuition? Is it knowing?
It's different. So we all receive information differently. Some of us hear, some of us see, some of us, feel, right? And a lot of the time when we start to connect with our guides, it starts with a feeling, it starts with intuition. And over time, it may develop into a voice, it may develop into seeing things. And it's our expectations of what that looks like, right? So it's like if we try and tap into our guides, we close our eyes, we ask that question. And if we're expecting to see something, but we don't see it, we start to get frustrated. And it's that. But if we let's say we just ask a question, it's like, okay, my soul contract with this person, what does it mean? And if we're expecting to see this voice in our head or this picture that to kind of shows exactly, and we get disappointed. But what if it's just a gentle voice, a gentle, intuitive message which says, they're here to love you, or they're here to expand you, or they're here to teach you. And it's just and then what if the more you just listen to that little voice, the more it grows. And then over time, it's like a muscle, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't go to the gym in one time and get a six pack, right? You've got to build that muscle. You've got to, and it's like the more you start to trust your intuition, the more it grows. But everybody's different.
Yeah.
Some people do see, some people do hear. And it's that comparison, it's that expectation.
Yes.
Let's say I ask a question and I've already decided I'm not going to receive an answer. Our guides will hear that and say, okay, what this person wants is to be confirmed they're right. Okay, we'll confirm they're right. So they're asking a question, they're not really listening, they don't expect an answer. We'll give them what they want.
I actually have a personal experience with something similar. So back when I was young, I was a teenager. I've always been fascinated about things to do with the spirits, spiritual world, angels, demons, whatever, anything in the spiritual world. Loved it. So I was in high school, and then I have these friends, and they were Christians. So we were okay. We would meet to pray. And then after we pray, they all seem to see something or hear something. And then it was me. Nothing. Zero. So, and I go in with the expectation of I must hear something today, or I must see, because the way they described it, I thought, you'd be praying and all of a sudden your eyes will just open, or, spiritual third eye will open and you start seeing something. That was the expectation. And that was not happening. So I got really, really frustrated. And then it got to the point where for a period in my life, if you say anything in relation to spirituality to me, I get so upset because I feel like I got disappointed.
Yeah. Your expectations again, right?
I wanted to see something, but I didn't see anything. Yeah. Now, fast forward a couple of years into it, I started, met with another, well, I wouldn't say he's more or less like a priest. We became friends. So we started, talking. And then I came to realize that all that time that I thought I was not seeing something, I was actually getting something, but it was not the way that I thought or I expected it to be. Yeah. So I got frustrated.
And that's what this journey is like, right? So it's like you go through full circle.
Yeah.
If you hadn't had that experience of getting frustrated, you won't appreciate in the future getting the deeper experience. So this is again what soul contracts are like. Something's opened up at some point and it needs to go full cycle and close. It's like that frustrating experience, which closed you off for a while, actually helped you because the experience you had future in your life wouldn't be as powerful if you hadn't experienced it. So it's that, isn't it interesting, right? It's like something that sometimes our most painful experiences expand us in the most sort of way. It's like, my podcast, right? It was, I started it in March 2020 and it's kind of now in the audio, it's in the global top 2%. Ooh. But I started it when my mentor, my friend, Sidra Jeffrey, he passed away. He passed away in a fire, aged only 38 years old in India. She lived here, but she was in India at the time. And she quickly became a spiritual guide. She's the one that intuitively asked me to learn how to read Akashic records. And it was that grieving experience that pushed me to learn how to read Akashic records. I only learned how to read the records because I wanted to understand my soul contract with her. I knew we weren't done and I knew we still had work to do. So I learned from the records that she supports me in the other realms and I do the work here. I ask her all the time, why couldn't we do the other way, right? Why couldn't I be float? Yeah. Anyway, it's fine. I just joke around with her. But then it's like I understood that soul contract. But then through the records, I got the message that my voice might give. And that's where I started the podcast. And I named it after Sidra. In some ways, it has her initials. Oh. Spiritual Journey, Sidra Jeffrey. So I feel like she guides it And this is kind of like soul contracts, multifaceted, right? So, I have a soul contract with her to experience in this lifetime. She taught me a lot. I taught her a lot, and all the rest of it. It was a co-creation. But I supported her in events in Mexico, Hawaii, all over the world, and I really thought, as a group, we would raise the consciousness of the planet together. And then when she left this realm, it was weird. A lot of people are obviously, she had a big following, but a lot of people kind of crashed because they were expecting her to to be in it. Obviously, I miss her, but for me, I realized that she's exactly where she's.
Okay, so that means have soul contract involved that she had to leave this realm at that particular age.
Because I realized I was playing safe. I realized I was waiting for her to, do things and I'd kind of support or follow. And it's like when she left, I had no choice but to, to step up, right? And then in some way, it started with me wanting to continue her work. And I felt a responsibility that, I need to. Over time, I realized, yes, I'll continue her work, but I need to make sure it's mine too. It's a co-creation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's my voice. It's what I channel, right? You asked me, how do I channel? It's like sometimes you say something and you're like, wait, I don't even know where that came from.
Yeah.
And that's what channel feels like, right? It's that you tap into knowledge and information. And that's what that experience did. The records have really opened me up to so many different realms, so many experiences. It's, we all have a set of guides, and a lot of times we get hung up on, I need to know the names, I need to see them, I need to do all this kind of, and the records have just helped me realize that there are energies and vibrations around me that are helping me that I don't need to always see, and it's a leap of faith to know they're there.
Mm-hmm. So for say spirit guides, how does one get to commune with their guides? How does one even get to know that, okay, I've got, this is my spirit guide or that's my spirit guide? One thing I know is a lot of people meet their spirit guides through astral projection.
Sure.
When you project, I think that's where some of them meet them. And I've tried astral projection before. Well, for me, it didn't work.
But again, it's your expectation again, right? It's not, look, connecting with your guides just starts with trusting your intuition. It's just, even if it's a moment, if you just close your eyes, right? Just close your eyes and ask you just to take a deep breath in and a breath out and be present. And then I ask your guides, I'm like, okay, ask your guides to be more present around your energy, more present around your vibration. Ask them to magnify their energy. And then ask you to open your heart and just feel what's around you. What do you feel? You may not see anything in this moment, but what do you feel? It could be a tingle. Maybe you feel hot or colder. Maybe you feel love. If you felt the energy and the vibration around you at this time, and I asked you just, what do you feel? What do you feel around you in this time, in this moment?
Well, my upper body around my face, it was quite hot and tingly.
There you go. So maybe that just opens up you connecting deeper. So then if you ask the tingly feeling in front of you to magnify their energy, if you ask them to be more present over the coming days, and then you just do that multiple times a day, that starts to help you build a stronger connection. It's because we expect this, on the spiritual journey, sometimes we expect a big epiphany, all of a sudden we get this flash in the sky and then we get all this revealed, we get our purpose. Oh my God, we understand that. It's a journey of building that connection. I'm not saying you don't get the epiphany, right? NDE, near-death experience, or you experience something in your dreams, but a lot of the time, it's a journey. You've got to start opening things up. You've got to start, and I'll always say right now, if you switch from I think to I feel, if you start feeling more, you start feeling what the energies and vibrations around you, maybe that will open things up. It's like, spirit guides, I need to know what I need to know what they look like. Are they loved ones that have left this realm? Are they maybe a god or maybe an archangel or whatever? It's like, it's our need to know that sometimes stops us from expanding. Why do we need to know a name? Why do we need to see something? Why can't we just trust what we feel? trust what we feel inside rather than what we hear externally. I mean, why do we, when we have a question, why can't we just close our eyes and just feel what the answer is instead of going Googling it or ask a friend or now ChatGPT? That's the, we've got to go and ask AI, right? First. Yeah. I'm not telling you not to do any of that. What I'm saying is check with you first. Just simple exercise, 30 seconds, actually to close your eyes and feel what's around you. But imagine if you did that multiple times a day over a period of time. And it's just, sometimes our mind gets in the way.
Yeah.
It's like, do I really feel a tingle? I don't know. Am I making it up? And it's just like, then you start to argue with yourself. And then all of a sudden you discount it. I'm making it up. And it's our mind plays tricks with us. But what our mind or our ego is trying to do is keep us safe. Wants us to keep in this version, because if we start to change, then what if we fall? What if we get hurt? What if we... So it isn't a bad thing, but it's just trying to... Whereas because if you expand and start to connect more with your guides, you're then going to journey that is going to change you. But what if that leads to some kind of pain? Your ego is like, you know what? If you stay the same, then you're not going to experience pain. But obviously we're here to have an experience. We're here to expand. The only constant is change. We can't stay the same. So sometimes you've got to just trust whatever's coming through. And it's not about what speaks louder. It's about what do you feel?
What you feel, yeah.
I mean, you can leave this experience and say, I don't know if I really felt it.
No, I did.
No, but you know what I mean? Easily, you could quite easily just or you could just forget and never do it again. Which again, not right or wrong.
Yeah.
But if you did that multiple times a day, who knows? Maybe it just opens up a whole different realm.
Yeah, I come from a very spiritual background. My dad is so wow. In other cultures, he will be a priest, but on our side, someone would say he's a prophet of some sort. So that's the environment that I grew up in. I experienced a lot of things. I say to my colleagues at work that for the kind of things I've seen and experienced, I would be stupid to say that there's no spiritual world.
I mean, who's to say you're stupid? But it's like, again, that was the soul contract you had with your dad to open you up growing up.
Yeah.
To the magic. But what happens a lot of the time is we experience magic as a kid because we were open. We don't have, the program which says, "Oh, you're making it up."
Yeah.
But then you start to something happens, or it scares you, or an adult says something, and you close yourself off. But a lot of the time, you come back full circle. It's like your experience of going to church or that Christianity. It's like your expectations. It kind of closed you off, but then you go full circle. And I feel like a lot of people are starting to open up now. They've gone full circle. They experienced things growing up. They almost closed it off. But now with this change that's happening on the planet, things are starting to awaken in it. And, you having that experience as a child is a blessing, right? Opened you up to spirituality, opened you up to accepting things now that may not be easy to see, but you can feel.
Yeah.
Like, again, that experience of just connecting. You already had knowing there's things happening around you that you can't see.
Yeah.
So that allowed you to just open yourself a little bit more to the experience. I grew up as a Hindu. Hinduism is all karmic release, reincarnation, multiple gods, and so that did help me on the spiritual journey.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned your dad. My dad was quite religious, but also very spiritual. But growing up, I was very mentally focused. Like I said, I spent 30 years in the corporate world. I was very focused on, and I didn't really feel or connect with his spirituality. And he's passed away over 30 years ago now. And I was a very different person. But I now know that he's supporting me as a guide. And he's supporting me in ways that he couldn't do on this planet because I wasn't present. But that's, again, what a soul contract looks like, right? I did need him as a human in that, but spiritually, I didn't connect with him growing up. But actually now I can feel his energy different in the other realm. And that's the other thing when somebody passes away, grief is such a big expander. It's like I talked about Sidra. If she hadn't left this realm, I don't know what I'd be doing. I don't know if I'd still be playing safe. And being able to connect, the work I've done allows me to connect with both my parents who are no longer with us. And I know they're different. My dad's energy is very different into the realms. I had an expectation that he wasn't around me at all, even with the work I was doing. But it's because he's different on the other side. So I start to realize that the energies and vibrations, some of my guides, yes, were on the human realm, but others I've never met humanly, but I can feel. And it's like, do I need to know what they look like? Do I want to? Yeah, 100%. But do I need to? No, why? Why do I need to? Right? Yeah. That's the human in me. It's like, hey, yeah, really. And it's okay to have that, right? It's okay to want that. But the more that you open yourself up to realizing that there's so much more magic happening around you. And if you allow that magic to come through in whatever form, then you're more likely to experience it. If you, let's say you have, you know what, I know there's magic around me. I want to see all these things. You may miss the magic coming in other ways. Maybe you miss the magic in a conversation because you're expecting to see things, or maybe you miss the magic in a song that comes on the radio, right? It's that, if you're in your head and the song could come on the radio that takes you back to your childhood, but because you're not present, you miss the magic of that moment. There's so much magic around, right?
Yeah.
We just got to let go of our expectations and let it happen, right?
Yeah. So we all know, some of us, I think a lot of people are aware of the concept that we come to Earth with a purpose, with a task. And I believe that these are tied to our soul contracts. So what happens if you're not able to complete that purpose? Let's say you were sent or you came to Earth to, I don't know, help people or be a philanthropist or build hospitals to save children, do this, do that. And somewhere along the path, you were not able to do any of that. What happened?
So, again, this is a question I get asked all the time. What's the difference between free will and your destiny, right? And it's that I believe what's for you will find you. What's not for you will miss you. And it doesn't have to. Who says life has to be linear, right? We're going to go all this sort of way, and it's that. But as long as you keep showing up for yourself and trusting your intuition, you'll find. And I also feel like the universe has a role to play. We get like little nudges, little intuitive hits, and when we don't listen, those hits become pushes, they become shoves, and then this is where we get. So, what if like an illness? What if an accident? What if is diverting a path back to where it should be? And do we have karma from each lifetime? 100%. If we don't completely complete everything we're meant to in this lifetime, we will carry on. We will carry it into a future life. But the thing is, what makes us think we only have one purpose? What makes us think we only have one destiny? Mm-hmm. Okay. And we get wrapped up in, once I know my destiny, I'll be happy. Once I know my purpose, I'll be happy. You're a soul having a human experience. It's the experience that counts, not coming to any destination. So what if you embracing where you are right now enables you to expand and to do something in the future? What if you have multifaceted? What if you don't have more than one purpose? I've done a lot of work on my why and my purpose. In the end, I've just wrapped it into anyone I connect with, I want to leave them better than I found them. That allows me to do so much. It allows me to do podcasting. It allows me to do public speaking. It allows me to mentor people, to guide people on their journey. Why do we want to do just one thing? We're here to have an experience. Let's have the experience.
Yeah.
And it's just, but we do get wrapped up, right? I need to find my purpose. I need to, what if I miss my destiny? It's like we get nothing, you're not missing anything. As long as you live in the moment, you live your life and you appreciate what you have in the moment. Because if we're a soul having human experience and we're waiting for something, we're not having the experience. We're too busy waiting. It's like, saying things like, I'll be happy when I have a house. Or I'll be happy when I earn a certain amount of money. Or I'll be happy. There's no waiting in this life. There's no, because then you get there. It's like me in the corporate world, it's like when I get to this level or when I have this many people reporting to me and you get there and you're like, oh, okay, this isn't as exciting as I thought it was, right? It's like, it just, and it's because you're focusing on the destination rather than the moment. And the magic is in the moment. And if you're honest with yourself, let's look at the last few years. How much control have we really had? COVID, lockdown, and all of that sort of stuff. Look at the last year and how much intense energy. And I don't know for you, but I feel like a lot of people that our inner circle got smaller. We didn't lose anything, but perceptibly we lost relationships. And
true.
And but again, what if that's what we had to experience? And what if the universe is supporting us by? I love the phrase that God source, whatever you want to call it, removes the people from your path because He hears the conversations you're having behind your back. What if nobody left your path? What if they were meant to leave your path? What if the universe was creating space for you to invite new souls, new experiences, new? And the thing is, if we wait for something, then we miss the magic in the moment. And how much control do we really have? It's like I said, nobody could have predicted COVID.
No.
And it's just, and in reality, we don't have a lot of control of what the future brings. We can't change the past unless you got a time machine. And if you have, please let me borrow it. No, I'm only joking, but it's like, but we have control of how do we feel in this moment.
Yeah.
If we can just kind of be appreciative, be grateful. A lot of people say be grateful. Yeah, and you can say, okay, you know what? I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I get to have this conversation. I'm grateful that I have a role. I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head and all that. But if you're grateful for the moment, it's like if you put intention around it. You know what? I had a great conversation with Eric today. We went really deep into spirituality. One of my favorite topics. Talking about spiritual journey. I'm specific about it.
Yeah.
I'm living in the moment. I'm creating a magic moment for me that then solidifies and it helps me. What I'm saying to the universe is I want more of those moments. Whereas, if I focus on, I was trying to get to the building, I wasn't sure where the car park was and all this sort of stuff. Who cares? But then I'm losing the point. I'm kind of getting lost in the human stuff.
Yeah.
Where the magic comes from the heart. And I talk to a lot of people and say, right now, there's nothing I can be grateful for. I'm going through so much pain. I've been through so much pain. I'm not well and all that sort of stuff. There's always something we can be grateful for. We're here on this planet. We as souls chose to be here on this planet. And I feel like this is a blessed time. And a lot of people may think I'm crazy, with all the pain in the world, right? There's a lot of pain, but this planet has to go through the shift, right? We know that there's so much happening on the planet and there's so much pain that we've caused. And if we're going to shift things into a different reality, sometimes change doesn't equal pain. But we have a choice. Do we focus on what are we feeling in here and do the work that's coming up here, or do we focus on the pain that's on the outside? And focus on the pain on the outside is, again, another form of escapism, another form of it's just what you feel inside is where your power comes from. If you can start to connect with you and do the healing inside, your light becomes so much stronger. You can help so many more people. So how you can impact and reduce the pain on the planet is by doing your work inside. I mean, how much, it's like you can send love to wherever there's pain. But getting lost in, what Trump's going to do next and all that sort of stuff, you're not going to change that.
Yeah.
But actually, if you start working on you and you start doing things that nurture your soul, your light, your energy becomes different. And that way you can start helping more people.
Right.
So you have that, you have a responsibility to focus on what's inside you. For example, if you struggle with spending time on your own, that usually means there's some healing that's ready to be done on the inside. And, if you always keep yourself busy with spending time with lots of other people, but you don't love spending time with you, then if you can't love you, then why is other people going to want to spend time with you? To spend time getting to know you, spend time. This is a phase where I really feel like spending time with self, to really understand why you're here, to get to know this new version of you, because you've been through so much change.
Yeah.
through COVID, through all this, the last 12 months, start to get to know you at a deeper level, and maybe start to enjoy spending time with yourself, time in meditation, time in nature, time connecting with you.
That's reading. Well, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm not. I love music. I mean, I do listen to music, but my days are spent listening. I listen to say about 8 to 10 hours worth of podcasts a day, or spiritual podcasts. I mean, I like to explore. I like to learn. I like to, broaden my knowledge, see what's happening out there. And from a lot of the things, especially I listen to a lot of NDE podcasts. A lot of the things I have listened to of people who've had NDEs is basically that we kind of chose to come to Earth.
Yeah.
You have the option to say, I mean, I listened to one lady that said they gave her the option. Do you want to go back? You want to stay? Up to you. And all that. And you're like, I want to go back. But my question is, as I see Earth to be this planet to be like a ghetto planet. It's wild out here. Why would anyone choose to come here?
I feel like there are so many spirits and souls that want to be here.
Really?
Because you get to experience so much on this human plane.
Yeah, you do.
And you're expanded in so many ways. And it's just, I'm not saying you can't have fun as a guide, as a spirit but I feel like if you're here in this moment on this planet, you get to experience such a massive change. You get to experience, I feel like the shift the planet's going through is the biggest it's ever been. So, and also if you have an NDA and they give you a choice, you're making the decision at a soul level. And if you still got work to do, then you're going to want to come back.
Yeah.
But it's like, what if that NDE is a rebirth? What if that totally changes your existence and it allows you to share that knowledge? And what if that knowledge just changes one person's life? If you start to focus on sharing your light, it's like NDE for me is like a rebirth. What you're doing is it's shaking. It's like you're going along a path and something has to happen to you, which is so radical that it changes the direction of your life. And that could be grief, right? That could be, yes, it could be an NDE. It could also be somebody very close to you passing away. It could be you experiencing something really painful because, change is hard as for a human. Everyone says, I love change. But sometimes you need to experience something traumatic to truly shake your world.
Yeah.
So it's like, what if that NDE and the choice to be back on this planet allows you to live at such a deeper level? Because you've experienced it. And it's like, how empowering is it to choose to come back? And what makes you think it's going to be so much better on the other side, right? And it's just, but the soul knows. It's like, let's say, you have that, again, this is just my belief, you have the NDE experience, they gave you a choice. Did you really choose? Or there was a knowing in you that you were still meant to be here? And it's just interesting when you start to change your question, you start to change your way to see the world, and you realize that those most traumatic experiences, most painful experiences actually expanded you the most. If you listen to this and if I ask you, what's your most painful experience have you experienced in this life? And then I ask you, okay, what did you learn from that experience? What did you change about you? What did that experience teach you that actually, if you didn't learn, you wouldn't be where you are today? You start to realize that actually the painful experiences are something that really taught you something. And I do wonder sometimes, and I ask my guys, it's like, why does it always need to be so painful, right? Why can't we expand with love, and why can't we expand without so much pain? And we can, but sometimes it's hard because we're so set in our ways, right? We're on a certain path, we do things a certain way, and sometimes change is hard. Radical change is hard. Most humans would say, I love change. I feel like we love change when we can see it coming, when we kind of know what it is. Like everyone right now, I feel like feels like there's something shifting, some change is coming. And it's making us uncomfortable because we want to know what it is. The human wants to plan, wants to kind of create structure. Give me some actions, right? Give me a project plan, right? You know, and it's like, but what if we're just meant to be present in the moment and trust whatever's coming next? What if we're not meant to know what's coming? Like again, COVID, for example, you know, it's like when we first heard about it, it's fine to sound like a cold that's coming from China, right? It's like, you know, it's happening in a different world. It's not going to affect me. But within a couple of months, it changed our world, you know. And again, for me, COVID, 2018 for me was like a beginning of a cycle, or maybe 2012. But COVID, I always feel like Mother Nature has a bigger plan. What if, and I get there's a lot of pain that went through it, but what if COVID was an opportunity? You know, we were saying we don't have time to heal, we don't have time to meditate, we don't have time to spend with ourselves. And what if Mother Nature said, all right, I'm going to send you all to the naughty corner. I'm going to give you a chance to heal or not. And you know, what if it started to open up something in us that would never have happened unless we experienced COVID? And I get there's a lot of pain. I get there's a lot of souls that left this realm. And again, I feel like they're meant to. Honestly, I feel the cycle we're in right now. I do feel, again, there's going to be a lot of souls that need to leave this realm. It's part of the reset, right?
If I have, say, I guess someone to look into my life, future, past, and then they're able to tell me what soul contracts I have ahead of me, and probably painful, and I do not want to go through that. Can I avoid it? Can I say, you know what? Yeah, no.
I mean, who knows what your truth is? But if you don't have that pain, what if you don't expand? What if you don't learn?
So then that means if you do not go through these contracts, you're probably going to have to eat.
Yeah.
Over and over again?
Yeah. Or maybe you're going to experience it whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And then, you know, because the universe does have a role to play to make sure that you experience what you're here to experience. This is what I'm saying. It's like, if you start to trust your intuition, then what if this journey doesn't have to be so painful? But when you don't trust your intuition, the universe has a role to play. This is where, you know, it's like we get certain nudges, we get certain messages, maybe through people or whatever, we don't hear. And then maybe those messages become even louder. You know, maybe we need to experience something at work, or we get some sort of disciplinary or whatever. And it's like, we keep missing the messages. The universe will give us bigger messages. And this is where, you know, illness comes in, or massive trauma, or because a lot of the time we miss the messages along the journey.
Yeah.
And I believe the universe, our guides, actually love us unconditionally, and they want us to expand with love. But sometimes we need to experience something traumatic to truly shift our way of being. You know, like I said, I said leaving. You know, a lot of people, I left the corporate world a couple of years ago, and a lot of people, I had senior director role in a really large global company. People are like, oh my God, you're really brave. The weird thing is, I didn't feel like it was a choice. I got to a place where, you know, I was waiting, you know, for redundancies. I was waiting for a nice package, you know, like I was been there 17 years. I was like, but it didn't come. And I was just, we were starting a new planning cycle. And I'm like, I can't do this again. And it wasn't like it was a bad place. I love with people I work with, but it's just a knowing in me that it was time to go. And the weird thing is, when I spoke to my manager, she'd only been my manager for 18 months, she's like, as soon as I met you, I knew you were here for something bigger. I'm so proud of you for I'm like, wait, this is somebody in the corporate space that, you know, is like, and it's really interesting. The universe, when you step up, and the universe will support you. But it's like, you have free will, so you have to meet the universe halfway.
Wow.
I know, I could talk about this stuff for hours.
Yeah. I love it. I've learned so much. There are always people who would be like, yeah, that's just a bunch of, you know, whatever you're saying, I don't buy it. Then, I mean, if you, as I said, I listen to a lot of spiritual podcasts and the rest. There's always those people in the comments, like, and sometimes when I read it, I find it quite hilarious, because if you really think that this just happened to happen, then I don't really know what to say to you.
It's fine. Your truth is your truth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. I'm not going to say you're wrong. Who to say I'm right? Who's to say I'm right and you're wrong? What gives me that right? You know what? If you believe that this is all we have, okay, good luck. Not 100%. I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll always say whatever I say isn't my truth. It comes from a different place. Whatever knowledge I share comes from a different place. And I'm like, if you in this moment want to stay where you are and you want to say, well, okay, you know what? Whatever you're saying is just, whatever, then okay, that's your truth. What I would say to you is, why are you listening then? You know, I mean, it's like,
they'll still listen. They'll still listen.
Yeah, it's because there's a part of you that knows there's something different out there, but it's your mind that and everything you've been through, right? It's like, the thing is, I don't believe that your mind is your history, right? Everything you've been through has brought you to this moment. And yes, you should be proud. But if we're going to change how the planet works, if we're going to do something different, it's not going to come from our history.
Yeah.
And our mind is our history. It's going to come from a different place. And what if that different place, you don't need to know what it is, but it expands you in some kind of way? And even those that kind of discount, again, I'll ask you, what's your most painful experiences? What did you learn from it? Is there any time in your world you made a decision and you have no idea where that decision came from, but it changed your world? Where did that come from?
Yes. That has been something I've thought about before, because I believe every decision we've made in our lives has brought us to this particular
100%.
point. Every single decision. And there are times where I've made a tiny single decision and it's changed something so significant in my life. And it will get me thinking, so what would have happened if I hadn't made that decision? And at the time I was making that decision, I didn't think too much of it. It was just an idea that came up. Like, I mean, I am under the impression, or I believe, and I know that obviously our brains is some sort of a portal where we get ideas, information, and all that. So I believe that if anyone gets an idea, or most ideas that comes into your mind, it's not of ours. It's being given.
It comes from a different place.
Comes from a different place, and we get the idea. Because, as I said, I've made tiny, significant, tiny. Oh, let me use that road instead of that road. And then
it's you following your intuition. You don't know where it came from.
Yes. And I probably meet someone on the road and we become friends, and then it leads on to something.
Yeah.
I've experienced that a couple of times. And
that's the magic, right? This is the magic we were talking about.
Yeah. It's weird. But it's very powerful.
Yeah.
How something we do not consider significant.
100%. I said, whatever's for you will find you.
Yes.
And, every action is a core set emotion, right? So what if that small action starts off as small, but then over time it has a massive, every action we take. But the thing is, the danger with that is we start to analyze things at such a deep level. And, we kind of analysis paralysis. It's just that, what if we just trust that wherever we need to go, we'll get to?
I love that.
And what if, what if we let go of needing to control everything?
I love that.
What if we trust that there is energies, vibrations, guides, whatever you want to call it, around us that are pushing us, that are nudging us, that are supporting us? The other thing to always remember is we assume that our guides know everything. I really believe it's a co-creation. It's a partnership. They're learning just as we are. I mean, not all of them have had a human experience. So, they need us to have this human experience. So you remember that you're important, you're needed. It's like, because otherwise we give our power away. It's like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to trust my guides to tell me what to do and all that. No, you have free will. You have a responsibility. You chose to incarnate on this planet. Honestly, your guides didn't. You chose to incarnate on your planet. So you need them to help and guide you, but they need you to do this, have this human experience. To have the human experience. It's like, well, if you're not sure which road to take and you're driving, which road feels right to you.
Yeah.
Who cares if it's the right or right? You know, it's like, I'll give you an example. It's like when we, you know, I have 10 nephews, 3 nieces, and I remember talking to each of them when they're trying to decide, you know, which university or which, you know, which degree or whatever, which college to go to. It's like I'm not saying it's not an important decision, but we analyze the big decisions so much that it paralyzes us. And really it's a decision, but what if there's no right or wrong? It's just a decision. And if you make a so-called mistake, you can course correct.
Yeah.
And if you go back to those so-called mistakes, I believe some of those mistakes expand us in so many ways that they were never mistakes. Who decides what's good or bad? You know, you wouldn't. What if those mistakes are there to teach you something? And that lesson means you will never make that mistake again.
Wow. Looking at, I think, if we look at things from that angle, let's just take the decision. There's nothing like right or wrong. It will take a lot of anxiety of people, because a lot of people are anxious about decisions they make. What if it doesn't end well? What if X? What if that happens? Especially when it's decisions about significant milestones in our lives. It puts a lot of anxiety on us as, am I making the right choice? Am I making the right decision? So if we look at things, as you said, from just a decision, that's not like right or wrong, let me just go ahead and do it. I think it will save us from a lot of anxiety, a lot of headaches, a lot of stress, really.
I mean, what if we just stopped and said, all right, instead of what do I think about this, just stop, close our eyes and say, okay, how do I feel about this decision? How do I feel? And whatever you feel about it, you make a decision, you move on. And it's just switching, that's simple. Switching from I think to I feel. So I think is very much about this lifetime. It's all about your history, everything you've been through. It's like, I think is almost like making a decision from the past. I feel allows you to make a decision from your present. And just asking yourself, and just that simple thing, changing your terminology from I think to I feel. That small change that we talked about could change everything.
Wow. That is had so much fun. I've learned a lot. If you've been with us to this point in the conversation, I'm sure you've been, because it's very interesting and powerful conversation. How about you leave a like, you subscribe, and then share your thoughts. What do you think? Have you had an experience with soul contract? How is your life going? Did you make a decision that ended up changing your life, turning your life around? Let us know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much, Nimesh, for coming through.
Thank you. Love the conversation.
Yes, absolutely powerful. I believe we are going to have multiple conversations, because there's so much to talk about. And I love spiritual stuff. I love anything spiritual, because I believe there's personal conviction or personal belief that this just existing was not the universe's plan for us. We have to go deeper.
Yeah.
We have to grow. We have to understand things. We have to, as we say, expand. So I believe there's so much to do and so 100%. Much to learn. Yeah.
I mean, if we remind ourselves, we chose to be here.
Yes.
And that we wanted, because it is hard, right? It's hard. It's like sometimes you feel like you don't want to be here. Sometimes you feel like it's easier if you're not here. But if you listen to this, I remind you that you needed, you wanted, and you chose to be here. And you're here to do something different.
Anyways, guys, that's Nimesh. I'll leave his details all in the description. You need to reach out to him. I'm sure, and I believe it's going to be an expanding experience for you, because I have learned a lot. I have learned so much, and I'm really looking forward to hearing so much more. See you in the next one, and as always, stay on tape.